Hello. Now I will be starting a video series where I will just be talking about the new chapters 3 and 4 of the game Deltarune that have been released recently by Toby Fox. And if you are not a Toby Fox fan of his games Undertale and Deltarune, and you are not caught up with all the 4 chapters of Deltarune, then I would highly suggest that you go try those games out first because they're absolutely amazing. Like definitely the best in two of the best games I've ever played. So spoilers for entirety of Undertale and Deltarune so far, right? I will be talking about everything, and I will be the different topics that I have in mind to talk about. I will make different videos on them, right? So this is my first, and probably this will be the last warning that I'll be giving for the people who are not Toby Fox fans. So let's begin. For this first video, I think I will be talking about the weird route of chapter 4, right? Again, the prerequisite for you to engage in this conversation is that you must be a Toby Fox fan. You must know like all the major points about of Deltarune, all 4 chapters, and Undertale, right? That is the prerequisite, because I'm trying to provide new theories and new aspects and basically just new perspectives on how the things could move going forward, right? And what everything could mean as the story is still unfolding. So, yeah, about the weird route, I have seen an incredibly, I feel like, harmful perspective, in my opinion, regarding the weird route of chapter 4 and the scene with Noel, right? You know the main weird route chapter 4 scene in Deltarune. So the you I feel like if you have stuck with me through this video till now, then and you meet all the prerequisites, then you already know that the animation that happened when we put the thorn ring on Noel, that animation has been changed twice, right? The first animation was the rose wilting, right, and dying, and the second animation that Toby Fox immediately changed in a patch was just a red dot, right, that was there. And the third animation was that whole entire spike and that branching out spiky or thorny spider web type of animation. I haven't learned how to edit videos yet, so I'm still learning. When I learn how to do edit videos, I will start putting examples and like visuals and just like basic editing things in my videos, right? But for now, these are just documentations of my thoughts, so I apologize if there are for the lack of editing here. Anyways, so that was the thing, right? And with the original animation, a lot of people called it as an allusion that Chris, quote unquote, deflowered Noel, if you know what I mean, right? And I feel like that is an extremely harmful perspective to have, first of all, because I'm just gonna be extremely upfront and say it, that did not happen. That is not what happened there, right? And why am I so confident in this? Well, it's because Deltarune is not that type of story. Toby Fox is not that type of writer, and I'll explain what I mean in a second here. And really think about it, right? Toby Fox is not nearly a bad enough writer to talk about something so heavy like SA, like sexual assault, and like to put something like that, an event like that, in Deltarune, even if it is in the VR route, and then allow room for many other interpretations, some of which are quite more lighthearted than the one we are talking about right now. You cannot, when you have set up the tone of your story, the tone of the fundamentals of your story to be utmostly sincere, right? Deltarune is a sincere story. It's sincere in its storytelling. It is extremely sincere and modest in its themes and how it presents them. That is one thing, where one area where it does not play around. Toby does not play around with that. and in Undertale too, right? Toby takes his writing, the quality of his writing, extremely seriously, and Toby is just not the type of person that would do something like that. I feel, right? If you want to, I'm not saying it is wrong to depict things like sexual assault and stuff like in media. It is extremely important, but you also have to look at the tone and the nature of the story that you are putting those types of scenes in. Does it fit there, right? Does it narratively complement the nature of the story that is happening around it, right? The weird route is extremely unnerving, it is extremely disturbing, yes, but not for those reasons. That is not the illusion that had been built up from in chapter 1, in chapter 2, in chapter 3, and neither has it been built up in chapter 4. I feel like that's why I feel like it's just not possible that that would happen. What I think actually happened, and what Toby actually wanted to convey with that, by the wilting flower animation, was that it's just a loss of innocence in general. You know, we have broken through Noel's and the barriers in Noel's mind, and we have entered her mind completely, or albeit only a part of us have, right? But we have still made incredible progress towards that, which is, deplorable if you realistically speaking, morally speaking, I mean. But that's it. That's what happened, right? Noah lost her innocence. We completely altered her mind. We brainwashed her. We manipulated her, right? We are shaping her mind in our own image. A little bit, if I were to simplify it a bit, right? Of course, it is more complex than that. That's what happened, because like an SA scene there would be so out of place. That's not like Chris would immediately rip their heart out, rip us out of them if we were to do something like that. And when we said proceed, we also did not mean to do anything like that as players. As sensible players, that's not what we were thinking would happen. That's not something that should happen in a story of this nature, where something like this is not at all talked about. Like something like this is not, you know considered within the realm of possibility, because this is not the type of story to handle that. Just look at there are many different games and medias that portray those topics with sincerity and sensibility, and their entire tone and like just the themes that go under them just feel different. You can easily see the difference, right? Basically, Deltarune is not the type of story to do something like that. If I had to phrase it better, I'd say a better alternative phrasing would be that those topics, at least that topic of sexual assault and stuff like that, the main characters who are children, by the way, right? Indulging in those acts, even if forcibly, that those themes do not have a place in this story as of right now, right? Narratively speaking, you know does not fit with the nature of the story, and like does not fit with what the story is trying to represent and what the story is trying to tell us, right? The themes that it holds. So that's what I think about that scene. And I think it was an objectively right decision by Toby to put the last to change that wilting flower scene, because many people mistook that as deflowering, if you know what I mean, right? Again, completely understandable and objectively right decision. It is completely right of him to do that, right? I still think the new animation looks absolutely stunning and absolutely horrifying. I love the feeling that it conveys in me. I honestly like it a bit more. I do understand that some people like the old wilting rose animation more, to it's just simple. It's like simpler is sometimes better, right? And I completely get that, but like still, the reason to change this animation far outweighs the need and the wants and like the likes of some of us viewers and like clients. That's what I think, generally. And now lastly, my point is that I'm not saying to just discard that perspective altogether. Of course, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I want to make this clear. I do not want us to discard that perspective, because there is subtext to that. There is subtext present there. There is some there's underlying metaphors and allegories, right, that you can make there. There is value to be derived from that interpretation. Did that actually happen in the canon? Absolutely not. It did not. But something can represent something else, like an event in a story can represent something else and be a metaphor or allegory of something else, right, without it actually being that thing, right? You get what I'm saying, right? I'm stumbling over my words here a bit, but you get what I'm saying. So that's what I think is happening here. The subtext of that is there, the manipulation and coercion and all, right? It's there, but it's an allegory, it's a metaphor, right? It stands in for that. And like the sexual assault, like you can basically say that yes, this is how uncomfortable it feels, you know. If this was a sexual assault scene, like this could have easily represented that, you know. If we take the scene as like as a standalone scene, right, as a standalone value, as a standalone entity, it could have easily represented that. But how well it was portrayed, that you can easily insert those depictions, insert those topics and themes into it, and it would have been seamless, because that's how uncomfortable it feels. And I completely get that. But I all I want for the Deltarune fans and like just the consumers of the game is the players, is to just keep in mind that that is not what actually happened. Chris did not do that. We did not make Chris do that. That did not happen to Noel, right? That's what I firmly, wholeheartedly believe, and I feel like that point should not be. It should not be a point for debate, right? That's what I personally think, at least. And that's it for my first video. I was extremely scared to make this video, and frankly I'm still scared of posting it, but I will post it, even though it is completely imperfect, even though it has no editing. The two things I'm good at right now are like thinking and speaking. Those are like two things I'm not even good, just relatively decentish, okay-ish at, right? So I just want to get my thoughts out there into the world, you know. And if you are were not a Deltarune fan, if you're one of my friends or like family or something, you would not understand jack about this. So I don't even care about spoilers. You don't know about spoilers. You don't. Wouldn't understand anything. So you're good, right? Play Undertale. Play Deltarune. Please buy those games. Please, I'm begging you. They are absolute peak, right? Two of the best pieces of media I've ever consumed. I will post so many more videos now, because this was the first step in me just giving my thoughts on some concrete thing without just making a video giving my thoughts, right, on random stuff. Now I won't be as formal, you know. I will be casual like this. I will be speaking well. This will be great practice for my speaking as well, right? And yeah, it will be extremely exciting for me to talk about. There are a lot of ideas in my mind right now, but do remember, the for the next 5 or 6 videos I will be making about Deltarune and Deltarune alone, right? So I hope you all enjoy what's coming in the future, if anyone is watching, of course, right? If a Deltarune fan is watching here, right? So thank you very much, right? I hope you found my monologue and my thoughts like genuine, right? I'm not playing up a character, right? That I'm not playing up a character to put out on YouTube. This is me unfiltered. This is me talking as I talk normally to people, right? I enjoyed giving out my thoughts that I've been holding in since the game dropped on like 6 or 7 June. Oh, so very long. Like it was. Oof. Anyways, almost 15 minutes. God damn, I have to wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, right? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please feel free to leave your thoughts, even if they're negative. you know, drop in those hate comments, give me more engagement. Thank you very much.